So essentially, I will use my what you could call my main troll loadout for most of the mission. It's only when I'm going to reach the second boss, whose name is James, that I'll switch to my debuff loadout. And I guess we won't have a healer, or maybe the guy will switch for the bosses. We'll see. Personally, I prefer if we have a healer, and the role actually I can do without is the tank. Uh, with the tank, I'll have to be a bit careful when I use crowd control because some tanks don't like it when you use crowd control. They want you to leave the crowd control to them. Usually, the argument is that if the controller uses crowd control, it gives immunities to the mobs, and then the tank has a hard time trying to pull them or something like that. So usually, if the tank wants to, I'll let him do the crowd control. But if there's no tank, then I don't have to worry about that. I can crowd control as much as I want. And in this mission, the tank is not all that needed, as you can see. Although the DPS was a bit too much ahead. I'm not sure why some DPSs have a hard time just waiting for the tank to jump in first and then jumping in themselves. So anyway, giving the choice, I would go with 2 DPS, 1 healer, and 1 controller. But if we have a tank, it's not a problem. So for Jared, essentially the debuff you want to use with him is the defense debuff. Because sometimes Jared seems to have a defense buff, so essentially when you use a defense debuff, you do lower his defense. And even better if you the energized boots. I'll go with the marks of victory because I already have those boots twice. So when Jared gets his defense buff, not only will you lower his defense with your debuff, but you'll take away his buff as well. So it's twice more useful in that case. But then when you reach James, the defense debuff is still useful in the sense that it does lower his defense, making him squishier, I guess, for the DPSs or for everyone. Uh, but if you really want to be more effective, I guess, against James, the best thing is to cast the attack debuff because James at some point seems to have an attack buff, and when he does have his attack buff, he can hurt. He can hit pretty hard. So getting rid of the buff is usually a good idea. It's not essential. Like I did this mission many times without ever using the attack debuff. I would just use the essentially the loadout I have right now, and just use the defense debuff. So ideally, before using my crowd control, essentially my mass levitation, I try to wait for the tank to get the aggro, and then I'll try to do some crowd control after he gets the aggro. But it's sometimes it's easier said than done, I suppose. Like right now, I know he has the aggro, so I can crowd control, and hopefully he won't use the aggro. Well, sometimes even if you try to be careful, the tank will complain that you're stealing the aggro from him or some such thing. So when that happens, I just I just let the tank do the crowd control, and I focus then on either debuffs or giving out power, depending on the group. So now I'm going to switch to my other loadout. So let's wait for the tank and let's get to it. As you saw, he got his attack buff, so I was able to cast a debuff and take that away. The only thing is I do not have mass levitation in this loadout, so essentially I'm going to use my second debuff as a pretty much as my crowd control. I'll take the mark of victory. Yeah. Now I can get back to my normal loadout. It's not ideal yet, but it's difficult to get all the debuffs in one loadout because you want to keep your personal shield, you want to keep the group shield, you want to keep the power over time, you want to keep the power dump. So that means you have room really for one or two. At the most, you have the room for two debuffs. And if you want to have some crowd control, like mass levitation, then you have really room for only one debuffs and like in your loadout.
With these two. And now that the ritual is well on its way, I will take the phylactery of sin and leave you to your final challenge.
Brother Blood, your obsession with me is repulsive.
May the best daughter of Trigon win.
I will flay you alive once I'm finished with these fools. prevent her from re-emerging, but it is taking all my will to do so.
Let's go
What you
with the
must know
weapon
is that
box,
rebel blood will
because why
return to
not?
his original plan, to unleash my father.
So let's give it a little
I'll touch
victory
you
thumbs
again
up.
soon.
There we
Until
go.
then, be safe.
And even a little bow, because things went fairly smooth. So let's see what's in the box. Well, let's go with the bow, because why not? And we already have the style. As you can see, I got the Captain Marvel t-shirt, which I would like to be able to give to another character, but it doesn't work like that, sadly.